Hey, are you guys seeing this? That's my buddy Looney over there. He's a bit of a weird one. The man takes his Minecraft world way too seriously. He just survived 5,000 days in hardcore. He's just building away. His world is crazy though. But if he dies once, all of this would no longer be his. Now, that would be a shame, wouldn't it?
Clown, what the heck, man? Get out! This is my video. Hey guys, welcome in. I'm sorry about that guy. He's a little unhinged. Man just stole my intro. Let me give you exactly what you clicked for. This video will take you on a journey from day 4,000 to 5,000 in my hardcore world. And it's a wild ride. We're finishing the castle that I started 3,800 days ago. I'm building an ocean monument base from scratch. And I challenge myself to make the craziest 5-hour project you have ever seen. Grab your popcorn, settle down, and enjoy the show. Before we get to day 4001, let me show you around, because this base wasn't always as cool. It started out as a big hole in the ground, but nowadays, it honestly looks pretty crazy. And you know the best part? It continues underground. Under the castle, there's a giant cave. It has all my farms in it, and it is so big that I use my elytra to fly around. Except for on day 4001. Because every time I get to a big milestone, for the next stream, I don't use my elytra to change my perspective, because things look quite different from the ground. But I'll let you see for yourself. This walk has taken 4,000 days to realize. I've been working on this base the entire time, but now, through a series of custom tunnels and caves, we can get all the way to the storage room, and then if we go even further, we get to the main cave. This place is massive, and normally I fly around here, but we have a little bit more walking to do. If we go down here, through the mushroom cave, and then a slime jump over the slimy lake, whoops, missed it, another mushroom cave, and then with the last tunnel, we should be getting to the greenhouse right about now. I just gave you the edited version of this, but this actual walk takes about 7 minutes without speed potions. Anyway, we don't have to be here, so I'm gonna take this teleporter up, and there, with the Ender Stasis Chamber, we get to the future throne room. Let's get to work. Okay, I'm really gonna hate this without wings. So instead, I chose to go a different route. And with that, the smallest project of this entire video is done. Because now, I can fly again. And that changes everything. If we fly to the base, there is another entrance that we normally use. The first steps are the same. I get a snowball from this guy, then throw it at the secret keyhole. The door opens up, but then, instead of turning right, I take a leap of faith. Alright guys, I've shown you around a little bit, let's go over the plan. About 3,800 days after digging a hole in the ground, I have a base here now. The initial plan was to have all the farms underground, hidden away by a mountain, with a castle on top. And that's done. Except for one thing. This is not a castle. It's an empty shell that looks like a castle. It's time to build an interior and finish this place up. I realized that this small place is not big enough for a throne room. So we'll make a massive throne room around here down in the mountain. And then under that throne room, we'll have what I call the lower castle, which will have living quarters, training facilities, and a dungeon. And above the throne room, we'll have the upper castle with all the fancy stuff, where I can live like a king. But first, I need to build frameworks to make sure everything fits. Step 1, the throne room. I didn't do this on purpose, but somehow the layout for the room totally looked like a minion. Whatever, it worked. This is a great foundation for a room, but it's really big, so I need a bunch more spruce. Soon, I had the ceiling arches in place, the floor in place, and then I got distracted. Somehow, I randomly ended up building a jungle temple on the outskirts of town, which ended up looking really cool. And if you see my shorts, you know what this thing is good for. Anyway, it was a cool side quest, and small things fill up your world nicely, but I had a throne room to build. The room was really coming together and the ceiling looked awesome, but we needed stairwells at the side, because in the end, the entire castle needs to be connected. Put the walls in place, then occasionally dug out a full block for a stair, and then I had to figure out how to make this ceiling fit. I had to break out part of the mountain sides to fit in the entire room, but I just covered it up on the outside. Then some blackstone, gilded blackstone in the back, and a really cool quartz snowflake as a backdrop, because the castle's name is Winterhold. Day 4088, the throne room was nearing completion. Sure, it was taking a lot of time, but it's the biggest... Ow! What the heck, dude? I just got shot. What kind of lousy king am I if I'm getting sniped in my own castle? Are you just gonna stand there? How is it that I have an arrow in the back of my head and you look like a dumb one? Dude, get in the boat. Just get in the boat. It's only a little bit to the right, just ow! Okay, we got him. Can we just pretend that went over smoothly? We'll have to come back later to move this guy because we can only really do that during the night. Now, what was I talking about before I got an arrow to the back of the head? Oh yeah, the throne room. It's the biggest room of the entire castle. But that's not the only reason building it took this long. Because while I was working on it, I ran into a rather inconvenient issue. You see, walking in and out of my storage room was taking a little time. So I needed a better way to get around. Which meant that I took a trip to the redstone lab on my creative world, and I figured out a way to make a hidden redstone door through maps. Because you see, there are these maps at the bottom of the storage room, so if we can fall through those, we don't have to run all the way out. Add a tripwire there, that will do it, and then... Yo! Okay, that's pretty awesome, but there's an issue. If we jump all the way from the castle, we first end up in this room here. So we need a second redstone door that lets us drop through the floor in this one as well. Maybe under... Oh wait. No, I'm gonna flood all my redstone under this floor. Let me get a trap door. And then if we break the block, we can get in there and then make a little air pump. Yes, that will work nicely. With that out of the way, I got right on top of the storage room. So I looked for the right spot and made another redstone door that goes through the ceiling. So now we can jump all the way from the castle, way down into this room, swim down to that hidden door in between the coral, and then that puts us on a slime block right there. Nice. To make the full system buttery smooth, I added one more timing circuit on the outside. And now we fall through the ceiling and we go through the middle right away. Nice. That works beautiful. Just like this castle, which started empty, but now we have a throne room right here. There was just one thing missing. So I quickly flew out to the starter house and went to work, crafting up a banner for Winterhold. And I came up with something quite fitting. That will do it. The banners on the wall made all the difference. But once more, I was startled by that darn skeleton. So it was time to move him out of here. I got him in a boat, rowed out towards the side of the mountain where I made a little hole, and then I used the boat for what boats are good for. Transporting yourself and a mob safely down over a long... You gotta be kidding me. Well, okay, that didn't work out at all. I should probably stick to building and finish this throne room up. Yeah, there wasn't that much work left. But this next part of the project, that's where the real challenge is. I now have to framework every hallway, room, tunnel, staircase, everything in the entire lower castle. Things are looking pretty hectic right now, but we're actually getting there. I have most of the snow frames done, so I think it's time to add the actual stairwells. Okay, now we just gotta build walls around it, and then after that, it is time for the first actual room. This is gonna be the training hall. Cool little PvP training arena. I can't wait to fight someone here. But for the next room, we're gonna need something special. Right over here is gonna be the tavern in the mess hall. And for the ceiling in this room, I wanna use beehives because they have an awesome bottom texture. So I set out into the world and hunted for a bunch of beehives. You want to get into Hive? Maybe? Maybe? Okay, just don't attack me. Finding the hives had been a bit of a challenge, but Stream Chat helped me out, and not too long after leaving the base, I had plenty of beehives. Now, I just needed to get rid of the residents, mine them up quickly, and head on home. Not only was the trip a lot of fun, but it was totally worth it because these were so cool for that ceiling. Once the ceiling was partially done, I actually took a sidetrack because there was something else that my stream chat really wanted to see. It was time to start building the dungeon. So I went back to the castle, and just to show you how much fun it actually is to play in this base, let me get to that location the quickest way I know how. We go all the way down here, teleport back up, drop a new ender pearl, and then we take a leap of faith down here, land it, and fly back up. And just like that, we are now in dungeon territory. And once I got down there, I started working on the most menacing part of these dungeons. These are really sketchy cells. You don't want to be locked up in here. Stone bricks, cracked stone bricks, andesite and polished andesite made for a great foundation. But then I took a bad jump down, and I think I saw something. Let me quickly check. Nope, that's too many creepers. It's easy to forget that this entire base is built on top of a perimeter for my witch farms. So whenever I forget to light up any space, we get a ton of mobs spawning in. Luckily, everything was fine here, and I may have overreacted a little bit, but you don't want to have creepers inside of your base. It's not good. Next up, I finished the deeper part of the dungeon. This is where the royal cells are. For really fancy people who are still thrown in jail. After that, I added a guard room and then a convenient little passage so I could get to the storage room a little quicker from where we were working. And now that we're going through there anyway, I need to get some iron from my iron farm. And that one's right here in the base as well. We just have to fly here into the green area and just past the sniffers. Right over there. Okay, let's get some iron bars. And with those iron bars, I finished up this part of the dungeon for right now, because we have something else to attend to. You know that teleporter room that we keep coming back to over and over again so far in this video? Well, it sucks. Originally, I intended for this to be the throne room. Now, that didn't work out, but this still needs to be a fancy room because we come here so often. So I decided to give it priority and build it up right now. I made some fancy wall patterns with frog lights behind it, but that wasn't quite it. We need something else. Let me go to my nether tree farm real quick because we need crimson logs. And I think you've guessed it, but we don't have to leave the base for those either. Just go through here again, and then right on the other side, underneath this giant sakura tree in the pink area, there's a little hidden entrance. If we go through here, there's a lot of farms that have their output here. One of which is the nether tree farm. Okay, so got that, and then let's get back up there and see if this works any better. Okay, that makes for a really good start. But I ran out of a certain resource. I tried to find it in storage, but I had used so much calcite building up the castle that I just didn't have any left. So I flew out to a stony peaks biome where you can find calcite on the mountainsides. I got a couple sugars worth while I was there because it's kind of hard to find this stuff. Then flew back to the base, and with those last few blocks, I could now finish the teleporter room. Right, we'll put those right here, and that is the room completed. I was actually super stoked at how this one turned out. And all that excitement, well, I put it right into the next part of the castle. By day 4205, the inside of the castle was looking a lot less empty. It's still a mess, but we'll get to that. The outside, though, had seen zero improvements. Luckily, I had a plan up my sleeve, so I flew out to a nearby ice mountain to try a little something. I just gotta see if this will look right. Present to you a magnificent project with instant progress. Okay, I admit this is weird, but I think I know what I need to know. For now, I made my way back to Winterhold because there was some more serious construction to be finished up. One part of the castle at a time, I went through all the inside rooms to make sure that all the frameworking, all the walls, all the ceilings, and all the foundations for the castle interior were done. This redstone door right here was the last of it. This will go to a secret area that I'll show you later. But for now, it was time to leave the castle for a little bit, because there was another project waiting for us. We're going to get the interior of the castle done, but just the castle doesn't make any sense. It has to be part of a kingdom around it. And the area surrounding Winterhold, well, it was severely lacking. But before we can do anything about that, I had to clear a little bit of space. I like that shape. That's a good start. To get ready for construction, I made my way into the mountain, flew through the cave that is called Winter's Hollow. and I picked up my lo-fi armor from the fortress. This kit has a silent stream on it, and I wear it exclusively on lo-fi streams when I don't talk, but get all the grinding done. During the lo-fi streams, I make so much progress, but if I was going to get all the things done that I planned for these 1000 days, I was going to need it. Before I could get back to work, there was one more thing I had to do under the mountain. If we fly over here, this is a blind wall, but we can actually go through here. And this is where I've been mining for basic resources. Right now, I need a ton of andesite, and I'm all out. So I quickly landed up here, and I started mining. It didn't take me very long at all to realize that this was not the way to do it. I have so much stone already, so I came up with a better plan. I made my way back to that icy mountain and set up a beacon in the cave, because if we can mine for exposed veins here, that'd be much quicker. Guys, look at this man. I really wonder if he thought that was gonna work. Not much later, I had all the andesite I needed, so I made my way back to the junction to start construction. I think we have a really good start to this barn for food storage, but the magic is always in the detail. So I'm gonna put some chains with hay bales here, and that looks nice. I like that. Then a stair to the second floor, and then I got distracted again. So I took this thing down. Next time we go here, we build it for real. Next to the barn, I built the foundation for a tavern, but I really wanted it to have a hay bale roof. So I set out on a little adventure to get hay bales from all the villages I could find. Turns out, that's a much quicker strategy than farming it yourself, because replanting the stuff takes so long. Day 4264, the junction was really coming together. This project, as well as tying together the town around the castle, is a thank you to longtime moderator Disco J. And I also want to send a thank you to you guys, because when I asked the community on stream to leave a message for her, I received over 2 Minecraft books full of the most wholesome messages. By day 4264, I had finished the framework for the junction, as well as the layout for all the rooms in the lower castle. Progress was going really well, but so far, I had been a bit all over the place. So I figured it would probably be smart to lock in for a little while and get the buildings over at the junction all the way done. That night, after stream finished, I went absolutely crazy on detailing. I made a central trading hall in the barn and lots of different compartments and rooms with small storage for different food supplies. With that done, it was time to move on to the tavern next door. As I was contemplating what to call this place, somebody in the stream chat suggested the name the Creep Inn, which I absolutely love. The inn needed a lot of work still, but all in all, the junction was really starting to come to life. These first 2 buildings were a great start, but I figured a marketplace would really tie it all together. But that creeper didn't agree. No problem, I can just patch the hole. Okay, close call, but that ain't happening. You gotta be kidding me. Ugh. After patching that creeper hole for the 2nd time, the coast was clear and I was ready to start decorating the market stalls. With the stalls done, I decided to brighten up the area a little bit more by adding some cherry trees, with these cool little planters around them. I really like this design. Look at that, so cute. The cherry trees looked awesome, but I was super picky for the right shape, so this one had to go. With all the detailing, I was absolutely living my best life. I forgot about time, started placing leaves, finished the stalls, the cherry trees, and I even added more dark oak trees around. But when I would finally fly out, the difference was kinda crazy. Look at this place. This is truly a Minecraft world. This is not a build. Soon enough, I ran out of dark oak saplings, so I made my way to a nearby dark oak forest to get some more. I spent a lot of time working on the junction, but it was time well spent. Slowly, the mountain area was turning into a real town, and expanding the dark oak forest was a great call. I know that it's a little weird that right next to a snowy mountain, there's a forest without any snow, but we're gonna get to that. I imagine there's gonna be a massive snowstorm sometime in the future. For now, I wanted to finish up the junction area, so I added more details like this cool fountain and pathways to tie the area together. After adding a well and a custom path leading up to the Creep Inn, I was ready to go and finish the tavern itself. And I'm so glad I just made banners for Winterhall, or I would have never thought of this. But I'm really happy I did, because it was the perfect fit. The Creep Inn turned out awesome, and with that, the junction area was completed. And it was just in time, because my yearly Halloween challenge was coming up. Remember that crazy tower that I built and then destroyed? Well, I just had to know if it worked. This is the plan. We're going to make a Halloween fortress on top of this mountain. But not only that, I was going to do it in a crazy short time. There was an insane plan spinning around in my head. I had all the pumpkins in the world from this automated pumpkin farm under the mountain. So I took shulkers full of those to the mountain that I had scouted earlier, because I figured, yes, that's your home. I figured if I don't need to collect resources, 5 hours should be plenty to build an entire fortress. Startup was a little slower than expected. I had to deal with these mobs first, and then I realized there's a lot of powder snow here. So I got some fancy safety slippers, and with those, I should be fine to moonwalk over the snow whenever I want to. That's good stuff, but it was time to get building. So I started clicking like a madman. No, but really, none of this footage is sped up, and I did this for the entire 5 hours. But still, after 12 minutes, all I had was a rectangle. So to move a little bit faster, I put the beacon that was under this mountain on jump boost to save time, and that really helped. But hold on. I know this is a Halloween project, but aside from phantoms, there's really nothing scary about this at all. So I found something that reflects my headspace from that day much, much better. Here's a catchy laid-back tune titled Supermassive Hyperdrive. No, stop, wait. I have questions. Who produced this song? What were they thinking? How long did they not sleep after they finished it? Okay, I don't think I'm ever doing this again. This was insane, but the fortress is dope. Let's build a sheep farm inside. Okay, hold on. I have to press pause here. That little edit was the most deceptive thing ever. Building the sheep farm took 3 times as long as building the entire fortress. That's crazy. Anyway, this farm is going to come in really useful later on. But when I finished it, I got a super cool challenge. 2 minutes to kill as many squids as I could, and I got a gifted membership for each one. Luckily, I still had live split set up, so you get to enjoy the attempt too. Yeah, we don't talk about this. Cinematic camera. Start could have been better. Absolutely zooming underwater with the rockets, but swimming turns out to be painfully slow. I had no idea. Like, this squid is not far away. That took forever. And here in the final seconds, we have absolute proof that my stream chat is way too nice. You guys counted 21 squids, but that last one was well outside of the time. So, we built a cool Halloween fortress, made a rather epic sheep farm that produces about 17,000 wool per hour, and I got to kill the 40 sheep in the base to save a lamp, but we don't talk about that. All in all, I think the Halloween project for this year was a massive success, but the time had come to continue the castle decoration. Before we could go on, I needed a very specific item, so I went to the mine shafts right next to the base to gather a bunch of cobwebs. And with those, I was ready to finish up the dungeons. Right now, we're in the fancy part of the dungeon. If somebody ordinary in town would do something wrong, they would probably go to the jail there. But this is for a rival king. I had a ton of fun decorating all the dungeons. In total, I think there's over 20 cells, from the royal cells to the somewhat cursed ones to really tiny ones to proper torture chambers. Dungeons have it all. But in the end, all this decoration came at a really high price to me, in a weird way. The thing is, I don't sleep in my hardcore world. So the moment I misclicked this bed, I freaked out. Guys, this is the shortest path that you could take with a mouse. Look at this. The panic was real. Because I really dreaded this moment. This was not the first time I misclicked a bed, but the only other time it happened was within the first 100 days. So now, time slept in a bed is 3. Once from getting the advancement and twice from a misclick. I didn't really skip any nights still, and I was sure to put the disclaimer on the sign here. But yeah, it felt bad. It felt really, really bad. I was so bummed out when this happened. At least I had made a lot of progress on the dungeon, and there were only a few things left to finish it up. One of the last things I did was decorate the guard room, and then the last couple cells that I didn't get to. And with that, we had made a lot of progress in the lower castle for now. And I felt like it was time to tackle that other part, the upper castle, which would be much, much more difficult to design. But so far, I felt like I had done a great job at the lower castle. At the beginning of these 1,000 days, this was a hollow mountain. And now, it was a proper castle where you could walk around. But it was only half the job. So the time had come to return to step 1 and build frameworks for the upper castle. The upper castle design is way more complicated than the lower castle, because in the lower castle I could basically hide whatever shape I wanted in that snowy mountain. There was a lot of space. In the upper castle, we have windows, and I have to use every little bit of room that I can find to make this place really, really fancy. This puzzle of what goes where was actually really enjoyable, but pretty soon I started running out of sandstone. Luckily, getting a lot of sand is the easiest thing in the world. So about a game day later, I was ready to return back to the castle. I swear the creepers have been getting sneakier since day 4000. Luckily, there was a barrier around that portal. With a whole load of new sandstone, I was ready to continue designing the upper castle. This part of the project has been one of the most enjoyable design sessions I've ever had in Minecraft. I was moving really slow, shifting around the castle a lot, thinking about every single block I placed. And honestly, I think it worked. But I also think that if I had built this project in creative, it would have turned out incredibly different. I think this castle is the kind of build that you can only really end up with in survival. And honestly, I love it way more for that very reason. Because I built the outside of the castle first, there are so many crazy balconies and towers that are just there for the looks. But now that we're connecting it, we're building the interior, all of it has to link up. And it is quite a puzzle. As I was walking around this room that is going to be the royal library, I realized something very important was missing from the entire castle. So I flew out and went to the sheep farm. For the first time, I was going to use this place to get a lot of blue wool, and then I went to the nether tree farm, got some sticks, turned all of it into banners, and put the Winterhold sigil on there. And those banners were exactly what I needed. With those, I finished up the royal chambers and I moved on to complete the library. The library turned out to have one of the best views of my entire world. And the other rooms around it had their decorations too. So the upper castle was coming together. But then I realized we had an issue. Right now, I had an upper castle and a lower castle, but nothing to connect it to. So it was time to make the entrance to the castle, because visitors gotta enter somewhere. Right behind this room is a guard room for safety reasons, which actually got a really cool ceiling. Stripped birch logs and mangrove planks look awesome together. At this point, I was getting so close to completing the castle interior that I had moved all my shulker boxes from the throne room to the plaza outside. But even this place needed decorations. So I got a lot of dirt and I flew down to collect a water bucket, because the next thing I wanted to build was a small little farm on the plaza of the castle. If there were ever to be a siege, I think it would be really good if the castle could provide its own food. As I finished up the castle farm, I realized that I was getting super close to completing the entire build. But there was still a lot of time left before day 5000. So I realized that if I pushed hard to finish the castle now, I had time for something really ambitious. With the mess hall kitchen and the storage done, the next item on my list was decorating the apartments of the wealthier castle residents. Just before day 4600, I had almost finished the entire castle. And that meant that I could press pause on the last 50 or so game days that I needed for decoration, because there was something else that I wanted to do. A long time ago, I had needed prismarine to build the outside of the castle, so I had drained an ocean monument using invisibility potions, and then I just mined the entire thing. I didn't make a guardian farm, I just took the monument. So right now, in the middle of my ocean was this gaping hole, and I felt that after building an entire pumpkin fortress on a mountain in just 5 hours, I would probably be able to build a guardian farm and a monument project before we hit day 5000. I'm sure some of you guys know what the optimal spacing for sponges is when draining, but I use mine like a maniac. So pretty soon, I had to go to the nether to dry them all out. Luckily, that entire process is super quick, so before I knew it, I could get back to work. I had absolutely gotten in the groove with the monument draining. Only 35 days after I first flew here, I was digging out the monument, but I didn't really have a plan yet. I was honestly just vibing with Minecraft. I was mining rather than crafting, but I needed to get an idea. Luckily, the game was about to sort it out for me. Back in my Season 1 world, hunting for mob heads during thunderstorms had been one of my favorite things. But ever since I started playing in this one, I've been super careful not to destroy my world. But right here, I got 17 zombies, 9 skeletons, and 5 creeper heads for a total of 31 mob heads. That was so much fun that all of a sudden, I knew what I was going to do with the monument. But first I had to do something else. I want to set up a portal-based guardian farm before I start decorating, so it produces all the prismarine I could ever need while I build up the project. But to do that, I have to do the most complicated thing in my world, which is why we're at my spawn chunks right now. You see, I'm a pathfinder at heart. There are layers to that statement, but right now the only thing you need to know is that I don't use F3 to navigate, which means that the only way I can know any coordinates is to calculate them from 0, 0, which is the block I'm standing on right now. To link up nether portals, you need to know their exact coordinates, which is why our quest starts right here. From 0, 0, I can count the number of maps traveled to any location. Since every level 0 map equals 128 blocks, that gives you something to calculate with. After covering just about 2,000 blocks, I made my way back to the monument, where I put the numbers in my Pathfinder's notebook before building a reference line to find the middle of the map that I was on. From there, I intersected the middle of the monument with the reference line to get the exact number. And then I did the same thing on the nether roof. Unfortunately, my replay mod file of that adventure corrupted, but we have to do the same thing again later in the video, so you see how it works then. For now, I got the job done, the portals were properly linked up, and I had constructed the storage system on the nether side. So it was time to start constructing the farm itself. As I built up the first few portals, my construction materials started filling up the item filters, but so did the first bit of prismarine and fish. So the farm was working. That meant I just had to do the same thing and make a bunch of nether portals to get this farm working. This is the real grind of these 1,000 days. Before finishing up the rest of the portals, the storage needed some expansion, and then I could finally remove the sand. The farm was already doing really well, but it could be doing much better. After all, guardians are in the same mob cap as normal hostile mobs, such as skeletons, zombies and creepers. So I went on a mission to clear out and light up the caves underneath. Oh no, no, it's him, no. Imagine being in a cave for 4 days already and running into that guy. Did not enjoy that. The whole issue with this expedition is that I don't really know where I have to spawn proof. There's no real way to find out without using F3. I can't really keep track. Underground, I am utterly lost. So I just kept going and going and going for as long as I could find caves. Until finally, he returned on a horse. Well, kinda. I don't really know when I'm going back here for this guy or how I'm gonna get him out, but this is a museum mob for sure. Okay guys, I finally made it back up. I think it's time to dig out the bottom of the ocean floor and flood it because I have a really cool plan.
Look at that dumbass, guys. He's grinding his little heart out. But for what? Let me tell you a story. Looney is actually really bad at this game. He had a hardcore world before this one where he died to a single piglin. Honestly, that can happen to anyone if you're not wearing any armor and it's day 3. But this man did it after 6,560 days in full netherite. All that work lost in seconds. And to be honest, I don't know why he did all the building in the first place. We were once nominated for the same award, Best Hardcore Series. Looney, builder of many things in thousands of hours, versus me, Clownpierce, a man without armor who got blaze rods and called it a day. Guess who walked away with the prize? All that work for nothing. But he's dumb. What a waste of a Minecraft player.
God, Clown, get out of here, leave me alone. I'm sorry guys, I don't know where he keeps coming from. What were we doing? Oh yeah, I think we should remove the sand walls and flood this thing. Normally this is real easy with torches, but those don't work underwater, so I guess trapdoors will have to do. Alright guys, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna connect this build to the ocean again. I want it to be a monument rising up out of the ocean, rather than a glass barrier that keeps the water back. So, let's give this thing back to the sea. I'm making really good progress on the farm, but the storage is overflowing again. So I made it even bigger. Okay, the next step is we need to cover up this guardian farm in a ocean monument structure rising out of the water. And I need something for it. I need dark prismarine, which means ink sacs. I don't have a squid farm, but somebody told me a cool trick. Take invis potions and just go boat at a monument. Let's try it out. Okay, this is a little scary, but let's see if it works. Okay, the guardians are chill. Maybe I should put my render distance down a bit. no luck so far. I'm gonna try and tower up. Maybe that helps. Okay, no luck with the strat so far. That means I'm just gonna start building with the materials that I have, and then we're gonna have to build a squid farm later. Okay, that's as far as we can get now. I have to get a squid farm. So I'm gonna fly to Winterhold and then turn left. And then there's a river right here, which I think will do nicely. Yeah, that should totally work. Okay, I need to link up portals for this farm, so I have to figure out some coordinates. If we fly around with the maps from Winterhold, we should be able to find it. Just pay attention to your surroundings. Oh, come on. Check and double check. If we type the maps out here and then we put the numbers next to it, then I should totally know where to go. Yeah, this is gonna work. Let's go to the Nether and link up the portals. Alright, I told you I was gonna show you how to do this on the Nether side, and it's really not that hard. I have a line from 0, 0 that runs diagonal right there, and then if we connect it up to that one, wait, I got it in the wrong place. If we connect it up to that one and then go out here, we can make a portal just like that. It's a little scuff, but I think it will work. Okay. Oh. I don't know where this is. Maybe I got... That should probably be negative? Negative? Yeah, that... Winterhold is negative 1080. Yeah, this should work. Okay, another portal later. I'm in the wrong place, but I think I know where to go now. This is gonna... Yeah, we got this. Okay, so I have a line going there. And then a portal... According to the Pathfinder's book, is... Well, it's not that one. So the farm is not that far away from my base, which is... Oh, it's negative positive. Okay. Well, let's try again. Then the portal should be right here. Portal already looks a lot better than the last one. Okay, nice. This should connect to the farm portals. This guy needs a golden carrot. If you know, you know. With the portals for the squid farm linked up, all I had to do was build a storage system and make sure that all the insects would end up on that side. And then, with the river drained, if we put portals here with water right next to it, all the squid should float into the portals and die on the nether side, collecting the insects from the storage system. Okay, good stuff. We got insects here, so I'm gonna seal that up, and then I'm gonna hope that this is far enough away from the farm to link up but not get any squids in the wrong portal. After building up the portals for the farm and getting rid of the sand walls that I didn't need anymore, the area looked pretty horrendous. Honestly, this is the first time in my entire world that I've made anything like this. This is bad, but I really need the insects. So I decided to do the other thing that I normally never do. I've already slept in this video and I've made a terrible looking farm. So I AFK'd for about 2 game days to get all the insects needed to finish the Ocean Monument project. I feel dirty. I've done all the things that I shouldn't do, except for pressing F3. Okay, maybe there's some honor left in me. Well, at least we have the blocks. Let's go make it count. Right as I finish the top surface of the monument, a thunderstorm hits, exactly what I need to test it. This platform is entirely waterlogged, so theoretically, I should be able to get all the mob heads I want during thunderstorms without actually wrecking the monument. Let's see if it works. Oh, that's awesome! Thunderstorm lasted for all of like 40 seconds, but we got what we need. I'm going to have so much fun with this build. The only thing we need is a way to make the platform dark or light, depending on whether there's a thunderstorm or not. Because we don't want to have mobs spawning on here, as they kill the Guardian farm raids, but we do want to have mobs on here when there's a thunderstorm. So I need a light switch. This is coming along really well. The original idea was to make a monument and then do the mob fighting during thunderstorms on the roof. Somebody in my stream chat suggested that I made an arena, which is obviously the right move. Now we're just gonna make it look good. While I was decorating away, my expanded storage has overflown and it's a huge mess. We're getting so many resources. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna burn this stuff and then make sure that the item filters work. It's coming along well, but I need to get something from the base real quick. Okay, Okay, these guys sell cookies, and cookies are an insane source of bone meal. So we can use all of this and put it in another tree farm. And then we'll take the warped logs from the farm and they will give the pillars exactly the character they need. Told you that was going to work great. I really like how the build is coming along. I've never seen anything quite like it. But we have an issue because the storage is overflowing yet again. So now I'm gonna fix it forever. I went back and forth on the choice that I'm about to make right now for about 2 days. Because it's gonna take a lot of time. But I figured we need to do it. The build just doesn't look quite right the way that it's swallowed by the ocean. It needs a little bit more space. And if we give it that space, it will look so much better. So the choice was made. I was in for a massive draining operation. But on this scale, I was gonna tackle it like a professional. The only way I was going to get this done in the time frame was automated sand droppers and draining machines. After dumping mountains of sand into the ocean, it was time for the real deal. Link to these epic draining machines down in the description. Now these drainers are super quick, but they have one downside: they don't really clear the edges. So those you gotta sponge up manually. While the drainers started going, I kept on building more and more of them. And if you look at the time lapse, it almost looks like none of this is working. But here's the catch: a literal sea of water can be held up by a single source block. So if you eliminate those, then you're gonna be fine. Which meant I had to divide everything up into smaller sections and then get rid of the source blocks on the sides that were keeping everything up. The whole process was honestly so amazing. I had a lot of fun doing this. Build flying machines and sand them up, sponges on the sides, and then remove the sand walls with torches. After which, rinse and repeat. By day 4,820, the end of the draining was finally inside. There was still water everywhere, but it was just these small sections and the sides that needed to get sponged. And when I got the right blocks, all the water flowed right on down. With all that progress being made, I was now in the final stage of draining. I just had to get rid of the last bit of water on the side, and then I had to smooth out the ocean floor. Because if I want this project to naturally blend, I'm going to have to come up with a really unique solution. But before we could get to that, I had to get rid of the last little bit of water on the side. These sections are a little deeper, so I made small sand divider walls and then drained them with sponges. As the massive sand walls that I used for the draining were coming down, I realized that it was time to move on to the next stage. Now, this next stage, there's only one way to really do it. I was going to have to do a lot of digging. So I set up my shulkers and I went to work. As the bowl was starting to smooth out and the sides gently flowed down to the monument, I was ready for the next bit of construction. We were still missing 4 pillars to support the monument. And then the sand walls came down once more, and it all started coming together. By day 4901, the main design for the monument was done. But before I wanted to call it a day on the project, I decided that there was one more feature that should be added to the bottom under the structure. Now I will be honest, what happened next wasn't entirely expected, but the top 2 layers of water on the top of the conduit are just inside of the bounding box of the ocean monument. Now, you could argue that this ruins the farm because now the rates are not optimal. But hey, this farm is producing way more blocks than I can ever use anyway. So what if we just keep the feature so we have guardians under the monument? Isn't that the coolest thing? built up the coral decorations under the monument, weaving in and out of the structures, avoiding the Guardian hits. But soon enough, the whole thing was coming together, and there was just one thing left to do. I wanted to name tag some Guardians so that whenever we go to this build, there are always a couple swimming around down below. And that was easier said than done. I got the Guardian's name tag, but these guys hit so hard. Even with armor on, it's a little sketchy, so I got right on out of there and looked at the build that we had made. The Guardians were an awesome feature, and they really tied it together. But as the entire structure stood, there was just one thing left to do. We had to wait for a thunderstorm to see this thing in action. What a project this has been. In about 300 days, I've taken this from a hole in the ocean, figured out how to link up the nether portals, built a crazy Guardian farm, and then I hid away the entire farm in a truly unique structure. But we had yet to see the best version of the project. Just 300 days, I had made a really awesome project. So whenever a thunderstorm hits now, we rush on over there to get mob heads. But by now, we were on day 4,920, and I had yet to finish the last couple details in the castle. So I went right back to work. Just a few days after getting back to Winterhold, I had completed the sleeping rooms, the bathing room, and this very cursed torture chamber in the lower castle. And with that, the lower castle was now entirely done, so I made my way to the upper castle and finished the remaining details there as well. After managing lag successfully in this base for almost 5,000 days now, the hanging signs were the thing that did it. So I got rid of those, made an archery training range, and finished the last couple storage rooms. And that left just this secret room that we started way long ago. This is going to be the entrance to the treasury, because we gotta keep the valuables somewhere. The secret redstone entrance to this door, some of my proudest work. If you don't know, you really can't open it. When I made the ceiling for the treasury room, I broke through the outside of the mountain once more. I've really made the most of the space in here. To finish up the room, I added some chains with solar lanterns on the sides to light it up. And with that, before long the treasury was done. Now we just had to fill it up. with 40 days left, let me take you on a quick tour of the castle. As awesome as all these rooms look, there's really no way whatsoever to do this any justice without walking around in it yourself. So even though I didn't plan to release a world download for a long time, I've changed my mind and I will be dropping a world download on Patreon real soon with a world tour video. For now, Winterhold was done, and it is magnificent. This is probably the most intriguing Minecraft build I will ever make. At this point, I called it quits with 45 days left. So, I got to fix the things that I really hated. First order of business, we gotta cover up this squid farm. That was a lot better, but we had a little bit more time left. As I made my way to the castle, I remembered that there was one thing that I had completely forgotten about. In this guard room, right next to the main entrance of the castle, there's a secret passage that I still had to build up. So I focused on that, and then I started on something you guys have been asking me about ever since I built the mountain. The outside is too barren, but that's nothing some trees and rocks can't fix. Before day 5000, I would manage to get a pretty good start with the trees, but this was never a project we were gonna get done before day 5000. So when the final stream came around, I did all the things that were essential to get done before we hit the big milestone. First order of business, I need to retire my armor set, so mining for netherite. It was a fair bit of work, but seeing the old kit next to the new one, I was really stoked to be rocking this new set. At this point, I had fixed the armor, I had checked all the fireworks and those were ready. That just left 3 things on my list. The first of which was building a display room for this interesting collection of blocks that StreamJat made me get. But once we had that sorted, I was ready to celebrate the 5000 day milestone. We had come a long way in these 1000 days. But as I finished my walk up to the castle to hit the fireworks, I realized it wasn't really about these 1000 days. This world should have never existed. We actually lost it in the first 100 days, recovered it from the dead, had the most amazing Minecraft journey I will ever have. So when I was finally ready to flick those fireworks, I saw the entire journey flash before my eyes. As always, the 1000-day journey ended right where it began, as I made my way down into the Hall of Thousands to put the 5000-day book on its pedestal. At this point, there are only 2 books left before we have peace in Season 1. The next one. Looney, out.